Thumbnails are the worst, just the worst. So, all right, let me get set up here. I obviously was not planning on, oh my gosh. I wasn't planning on going live today, but here I am because we've got big news. And hi guys. So if you were like me, you might have woken up today very confused. And so I woke up and I got a message from my friend. And this is a friend that I haven't really talked much about this stuff with. So it was weird that the information came from him, but he was like, Epstein's dead. What do you think about this? And I was like, what? Like I still wasn't awake yet. And then I checked it out and I saw that it was real. I'm like, hold on, let me get back to you. So this is, yeah, it's nuts. And I don't know if you guys are having the same experience that I'm having, but let me tell you an interesting thing about this. I am getting a lot of messages from friends that I never even talked to about this stuff, being like, what do you think about this? Or what's going on? And I feel like it's a tiny little look into what it might be like if we get some actual disclosure on things, because I do start seeing people that don't normally think about this stuff, don't normally talk about this stuff, starting to kind of open their eyes a little bit and come to me for information, which I think is very interesting. I had a few other friends that I've maybe like kind of talked to a little bit about this. I had one of my best friends who I don't believe I've ever really talked to her about anything that was Q related or whatever. We've talked a little bit about politics, but she ended up sending me a screenshot of a couple Q related Twitter accounts that I follow, being like, what do you think about this? And I was like, oh my God, I can't even believe you're sending this to me right now. It's so funny. So I see that it's buffering for some of you. I'm really sorry. I don't know if it's my internet or what, but technology is not my friend these days, guys. So anyway, okay, so that's an interesting element. But then also I was seeing a lot of people within the community, a lot of tweets and things today of people feeling disheartened or confused or worried or, you know, whatever it was. So that was another reason why I wanted to go live today and talk about this with you guys. So I'm going to give you my take on it. First of all, a couple things. I have linked below. So Rob and Ben from Edge of Wonder have they have their own platform now, which is really awesome because that is not, part of the whole entire reason is we cannot no longer trust social media. We are all getting censored. We are getting stifled. They can take down whatever they want. So smartly, Rob and Ben have created their own platform that is not subject to those things. They can post on there freely and never worry about it getting taken down or whatever. So on their edgeofwonder.tv or edgeofwonder.New York or whatever it is, the link is below. They have now created like a kind of like a news site that I am helping them with. So this is a very casual, I would say, like I laugh when people talk to, like, say that I'm a journalist or whatever, like an independent journalist now. I kind of laugh about that because that I have absolutely no training in journalism whatsoever. But, you know, we are out there finding these things. So this is a very casual way of us getting these links to you. We can link to Twitters. We can link to the Twitters, we can link to the Facebooks, to whatever, and news sites, etc. We can put little blurbs in there of, you know, what we want to talk to you guys about or whatever, but then that will be there. Obviously, sometimes links that we put up there might go bye-bye, but I think the important thing is that it can kind of be a place that you can go to. I mean, it's just starting off right now, but eventually I think that it's going to be a really great resource for all of us to get all of this stuff that's coming in. It might just come from like tweets. Like today I posted just a string of tweets that I saw that were putting the pieces together for me when I was trying to figure out the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. And a lot of those link to articles, a lot of them have pictures or videos or whatever. And so I think that's going to be a neat little resource. So check that out when you guys get a chance. And then we'll also probably go through it because a lot of what I saw today was in Twitter. I feel like I'm going to sneeze right now, so bear with me. Okay, so getting into the Epstein stuff. Obviously, when I first saw this, I didn't know what to think. And my first little ping reaction was like, oh no, that's really not good. But I think it's okay. I think it's more than okay, and I'm going to tell you guys why, and I don't want any of you guys to fret. First of all, it's still way too early to even know what is happening. I'm seeing a lot of contradictory stories in the mainstream media, even contradicting themselves. I'm seeing them say, you know, he hung himself. Then I'm seeing other people say that he was found in his bed, actually cold, which means he had been dead for hours before they even found him, which makes no sense if they're supposed to be checking on him. They were coming out first saying that he was on suicide watch, which makes sense because he apparently tried to hang himself a couple weeks ago, if you guys remember. And then now they're saying he was off of suicide watch. Like, oh, he got better. She turned me into a newt. I got better. So, yeah, a lot of these things just don't add up. But that's to be expected. So right now we're seeing mainstream media do its thing, which is frantically try to spin a narrative when it's not ready. And I think that, what were some of the interesting things that I saw? Definitely thought it was interesting that he was taken off of suicide watch and that he wasn't being watched. Definitely thought it was interesting that the cameras that they had on him just happened to glitch out when this was happening. So there's no video surveillance, which is quite typical to those of us that have been paying attention, probably since, oh, I don't know, the Las Vegas shootings, when casinos that they literally made like the whole Ocean's 11, Ocean's 13, whatever, that whole entire franchise of movies was literally about pulling off a heist in the most video surveilled places on the planet, which is a Las Vegas casino, which is just Las Vegas in general. So we don't have any footage from that. We have footage go missing a lot, let's just say. So anyway, the things that were giving me hope were seeing that I saw something about, since he's dead, there's nothing now to block the evidence, them going through his property for evidence. And I don't know if that means like his physical, tangible property. I don't know if that means his homes and his islands. I would assume so. So that could be a good thing. Also, we kind of just expedited something major here. And I think that's an important thing to point out. Jeffrey Epstein's trial wasn't even set to begin until like June of next year at the earliest. So that's a year we would have had to wait in order to even delve into him. Yesterday we had a major drop of documents coming from, okay, so his kind of, what was his ex-girlfriend and kind of his, I've heard her referred to as his madam, Ghislaine Maxwell, got sued by Virginia, what was it, Guffrey? In the lawsuit started in 2015. Basically what happened was Virginia Guffrey came out and said, I was recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell to massage Jeffrey Epstein when I was 15 years old. It led to me being raped and me being, loaned out to some of these very high profile people within his circle for sex. And so then Ghislaine Maxwell came out and called her a liar. So then Virginia Guffrey ended up suing her for defamation. And I believe the case settled in 2017. So all of the documents that we got that got unsealed yesterday were from that case, because when that case settled in 2017, all of that evidence got sealed. So we had, last month it was the Second Circuit basically said that these were going to be unsealed this month. We got a major dump yesterday linking at least one senator, a governor, Prince Andrew, Duke of York, right, which we already had his name was already out there in connection to this. So a lot of really big names, and there were a lot of eyes on that yesterday, and then now suddenly he's dead. So now we have even more eyes on it. And that's another thing to that I think is kind of giving me hope, is that this is not a partisan thing. We are seeing people now on both sides, which I have to admit, okay, every time I see Donald Trump's name come up in this now, even at the end of some of the documents that were put out yesterday, all the articles were like still trying to link Donald Trump to this. And at first it was kind of making me annoyed because of what we know and what we've seen. But also I realized this is actually a really good thing, because you have people, all the people that hate him, who wouldn't necessarily be eyes on this. They're not interested in watching the Clintons go down. They haven't been paying attention to all of the human trafficking arrests, and they don't believe that there are mass amounts of pedophiles within our government, and etc. These are people now that are salivating watching this unfold, and they are all interested. And not only that, but they are watching this clown show in the media trying to put this together, and I don't think anybody believes what they're trying to tell us happened. And so all of these people that have been calling us conspiracy theorists are now starting to go, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. So I think that's good. I'm going to start reading some of these comments now, but I do think, I'm hopeful. I think that this is better news than it is bad news. I think that a couple other things. If he was needed for testimony, if he was an important link in order to get to these other people, there is no way they would have let him be open to being harmed by anybody, even himself. There's just no way. So if he's dead, and I think there's a good chance he is. If he's dead, then they let him die. Then they let it happen, and that means that they don't need him. I feel for his victims to not get him, see him get justice and have to pay. It's a cowardly way out. But I don't believe. I just can't see, I won't say I don't believe it, but I just can't see his victims really wanting to have to sit there and look him in the eye and testify. I think that they definitely wanted to see him get justice, and I'm sure a lot of them today are feeling disgruntled, sad, worried, angry, all of those things, and I get that. But I think the greatest outcome that we could have hoped for with his trial would have been a death conviction, and basically that's been carried out. The thing that we really would worry about is its connection to other people, which I do believe can still happen and might even happen faster now that he's dead. There are some people, why, what's going on in the comments, I'm afraid. Do I have any moderators in here? Anyway, so we've got Ghislaine Maxwell is still out there walking around. We've had, Q has highlighted Ray Chandler and a couple other people. I mean, there are a lot of people that are connected in this. I can't remember the governor's name or the senator's name now. It might come to me in a minute. But anyway, these people are, I would say, on a high list of, I would say we need to be on suicide watch for more than just this. One of my mods went rogue. Uh-oh. And now my screen's going black. It's okay, guys. Bill Richardson, thank you. Yeah. So anyway, we've got some other people out there floating around that I would not be surprised if if they hurt, I don't know. I don't even know how to say that. August is hot, just like Q said, exactly. And it's just the beginning of August, isn't it? Let me see if I can fix this. Nope. So, well, it's kind of black for me. I don't know. It does that from time to time. So there's no way that no one was watching him 24/7. That's absolutely impossible. Exactly. If this guy was important, if he was on suicide watch, which I don't believe, they would be like, well, he appears to be feeling better now, guys. We'll just leave him alone. If anybody has a belt he could borrow, his pants are falling down. If you're on suicide watch like that, they give you paper clothing, or they give you something that you can't hang yourself with. You don't have shoelaces. There's nothing in the room that you could attach yourself to. They're very careful about that. Or at least they have the ability to be very careful about that. And so I don't think that's any accident that that this was able to happen to him. If Kate was a teacher, I'd never be absent. Well, you'd probably get all A's too. The pyramid is crumbling. Yes, you don't think this was a way to set him free like he wanted and just to be never be heard from again. I don't believe that. I did hear a lot of speculation on that he was switched out and that he was set free, plea bargain. I don't think he's the kind of person you give a plea bargain to. I don't think he's, or whatever you want to call it, that you would set free. He's way too evil. What he has done is way too evil to let him roam the earth. And I truly believe that the good guys are just systematically taking these people down. And I think that they have enough that they don't need to trade this evil person for this evil person anymore. Gitmo. I mean, yes, that's another possibility. He could have been switched out to do his military tribunal. I also think it's possible. Okay, so originally what I was seeing was that he hung himself. Then I was seeing, actually Laura Loomer had an article today where she was saying that he was found in his bed cold, which means he had been dead for hours when they found him, and that he had suffered like cardiac arrest or something. We know that they have technology that can mimic heart attacks, or even poisons that can mimic heart attacks. That's stuff that came out in the 70s during the church committee hearings. That they had all that stuff way back in the 70s. I think this might be, I'm of the opinion that possibly No Name and Papa Bush might have been two of these that were they were given the option to take the poison pill in order to turn on people, perhaps. And then they're allowed to have these public, normal deaths in exchange for whatever. So that's a possibility. Another possibility is that they're in Gitmo. And yeah, at this point, I don't really care if Jeffrey Epstein is in Gitmo or if he's dead, because I really do believe that we have it all. I hope Ray Chandler has 5 guards on her at all times and 10 guards watching those 5 guards. Yeah, wasn't that another part of the story? I was seeing that his guards had guards. Yeah, I'm not buying any of this. It's very interesting. So, and we also can't get any updates right now from Q because 8chan is still down. I heard whisperings that 8chan would be down until after the congressional testimony of Jim Watkins, who is the owner of 8chan. Remember the other day, Jim Watkins, the owner of 8chan, came out and put out this video message where he said that the shooter did not post originally to 8chan, he posted to Instagram. And also that the person that posted the manifesto, the shooter's manifesto, was not the shooter. So those are two really important things. They're trying to peg all of this, that 8chan incites violence, that it's this lawless part of the internet. Meanwhile, didn't the synagogue shooter broadcast the entire thing on Facebook, and then this shooter is broadcasting on Instagram? You can't blame a community for what a bad person does, and even though I don't like Facebook, I don't like Instagram, it still is not their fault. I mean, obviously, I don't like when we see, thank you very much, Johnny and Chess Cheetos. Thank you guys. when we see obvious double standards, and I see, you know, lots of really bad stuff that stays up on all of these social media platforms, and then we've got other stuff that's totally benign that gets taken down. I forgot where I was going with that, but anyway, basically, so 8chan is still down. They lost their DDoS protection, and they were in the process of switching over to this other company, and yeah, what I had just seen was that they wouldn't be back until after Jim Watkins testifies. So I don't know about that, but that's a long time to go without Q. We don't have any, we don't really have any normal way for Q to communicate with us. Obviously, we've got the presidential alert system set up, but that would, I think that would have to be like literally an emergency or something big for them to use that. They're not just going to put their Q drops on there now. And Q has specifically said no outside communications. So if we start to see Qs pop up elsewhere, you know, 4chan suddenly has a Q, or now we've got a Q claiming to be Q on Facebook, or people are starting to channel Q now, don't believe it. Q is Q. I'm going to wait for 8chan for Q to come back. And yeah. Yes, so that platform on Edge of Wonder, again, it's in its little baby stages, but I think it's going to be really cool, and it'll be, you know, kind of untouchable. Hi, guys. They can't go blaming people's personal actions on anything coming out of the net. Well, you really can't blame anybody's personal actions on anything other than that person. And that's it, period. What about RBG on Fox News, though? They said she was dead. Maybe she is dead. I suppose that's debatable. I don't know. I didn't see that. I've been kind of out of the loop today. But again, there are ways. Thank you, Archangel Zero. Epstein was suicided, not committed suicide. Big difference. Yes, this is a term now. I actually saw somebody tweeted that today, and somebody who is obviously new commented under it and was like, suicided. This is such a Trump era word. Apparently they were not around for the many years prior when we had suicidings, Arkanside, whatever you want to call it. Sorry I missed, thank you, Chust Cheetos. Sorry I missed your stream Friday, Rob. Late start. Greetings, hi. RBG definitely dead months ago. I do love the memes though. The one where she's on a coat rack being wheeled through the internet makes me giggle. Epstein will grow a beard and will get a sighting on this next time someone gets a drone over Pedo Island again. No, I don't think so. I did think it was interesting, the comparison with the nose and the ears, and I've already been over this with some friends and they disagree with me. I just think it's interesting. That nose is definitely off. Whether you want to say he was like beat up in prison and maybe his nose was swollen, it just doesn't look the same. His nose profile, Jeffrey Epstein's nose profile, was very straight, and this was a very curved one. The ear, I could see where it could be lighting that would make it look different. Also, if you look at those pictures that were circulating, couple different things. One is he has a giant head. If you look at the guy in the foreground of that picture and all of the other, there are like 2 or 3 other people in the picture, and then compare the head size with Jeffrey Epstein, it's like biblical. Like, it's enormous. Is it possible Epstein was put in witness protection? That is possible too, definitely. Anything's possible. Most things are possible, I guess. So there's that, the head size. The other thing was that I saw a photographer got the images off of, what was it, New York Times that broke those pictures originally, one of the mainstream outlets. And she said, it's very interesting because there's all of the metadata on these pictures has been completely wiped. And as a photographer, I know that if I'm giving somebody my pictures, I'm gonna make sure that my stuff is on there. So that was interesting. Yes, Rusty Shackelford on YouTube has a ton of Jeffrey Epstein drone videos. Some of them are set to music. They're pretty cool. I wonder who that guy is and wonder if they have connections to the Q team, because because that was pretty cool. And they have some pretty awesome access, but showing, you know, doors coming out of mountains and stuff that makes absolutely no sense, things that look very ritualistic and satanic, I guess you would say. Big sundial and just a bunch of weird stuff. It is definitely not a normal island, but we knew that. Thank you, Crypto Consultant and Chess Cheetos. The Great Hack on Netflix is a must watch. Interesting. Oh, speaking of movies, I saw that movie The Hunt is no longer coming out. They got a lot of pushback, I think, because, so if you guys haven't heard of this movie, it was literally a movie about elites hunting deplorables and killing them. It was just so bizarre. So a lot of people were saying, like, this is completely irresponsible. Why would they put a movie out like this when things are so heated between the political parties, etc.? Epstein's head affected the tides. Yes. It's about Facebook, Cambridge Analytica. Who says Q is not watching everything that's going on and seeing how everyone handles the situation at hand? I do believe Q is always watching. Epstein. I love that. Yes, for those of you that don't know, some of his victims had come out describing his genitalia to kind of prove that they had seen it and said that it was egg-shaped. Loser. So yeah, now people are calling him Jeffrey Epstein, which I think is pretty funny. Remember them saying, like, with all the evidence they had from Ray Chandler, that Epstein testimony was optional. Yeah, and also, thank you, Jeff. Yes, Netflix is shill for DS, Deep State, 100%. Netflix has very questionable people working at Netflix. And since those questionable people have been added to Netflix, there has been a very drastic change in the content that they provide. They got rid of just about every bit of patriotic content, and there's a lot of satanic stuff on there and whatever. So wait, what was I saying? I was saying something. Let me go back up. And oh, Ray Chandler. Oh yeah, so one of the things that Q had directed our attention to was that Jeffrey Epstein spent a certain number, I think it was in the millions of dollars, filling in the tunnels beneath his island. And basically what Q had said was, it doesn't matter, you allowed cell phones on your island. These people are stupid. Basically, I took that as these cell phones are being monitored. They have video surveillance. They've got more than they need. They don't need this, you know, they don't need the tunnels to even exist anymore. They know that they did, and they've got proof. There's always truth in any lie. It's necessary. What if he's not dead, taken somewhere else, drinking pina coladas with Bill C? I don't think so. I think if he's not dead, he's in Gitmo. I really don't believe that he is anywhere good. Epstein's genitalia was tiny because his head requires all the matter in his body. Yeah, all his body could conjure. Yes. Could you imagine trying to create enough blood flow for a head that size? Yeah, sorry guys. Some of you just went vegan. 3-letter agencies don't work for us. I think whatever bad factions were within, well, how do I want to put this? The first one you mentioned, I think, was really never good to begin with, but that doesn't mean that there aren't good people working there. And I think that part of the reason that this is taking so long is we are seeing the systematic clean out of these 3-letter agencies so that we don't have, you know, people go free. You get one shot and you better not mess it up, because if you do, you can't go after these people again. Japanese McDonald's cups, Google it. Thank you very much. I have no idea what that is, if anybody wants to fill me in. Dead man switch equals new life as a different man. Plus, people say they saw a TRB spaceship over the building. Go figure. If names drop, it is to fake the real dead man switch with low-level peeps. Thank you for all the egg emojis. They're talking about Epstein on World News Tonight on ABC right now, LOL. Yeah, they're going to be talking about Epstein. That's good. That's good. We want the mainstream media focused on this because we want everybody focused on this. And some people will still only listen to their mainstream media. Sparrow egg. As I told you before, I did time in prison and I've been on suicide watch. They check on you every 30 minutes. If you're asleep, they knock on your door and wake you up to make sure you're alive. This is BS. Plus, he was in, you know, supposedly federal custody, federal whatever. So I don't believe that they wouldn't have 24-hour surveillance on him. On top of checking on him every 30 minutes. There would be more than one person that was designated to watching him at all times. The 19th is coming up in just over a week. Maybe something will happen then. I don't know. I learned a long time ago not to attach myself to any dates. And so I've been seeing August 15th float around as a lot, or for a lot of things, the 19th. Hi Ella, thank you. Kate Awakening merch. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that or not. We shall see. But who's got time for it right now? I don't. Nobody believes a guy with a head that big didn't see anything. Should have had the 24-hour panda cam on him. Same camera system as the Walmart in El Paso and the casino in Las Vegas. Exactly. His death was planned. There's no way any of those security guards could have lost sight of that guy's head. As he was crying himself to sleep on his huge pillow. Do you have an email that I can send? Yeah, you can send emails. Thank you again. You guys can send emails to thekateawakening@gmail.com, which brings me to another topic. If you guys have anything that you want to tell me, and maybe it's particularly sensitive, or it could possibly be sensitive, or you are telling me that it is a dangerous topic to discuss, maybe don't send it to me on Facebook. If you end up happening to find me on Facebook, which, by the way, I don't link to my Facebook on anything for a reason. I barely go on there. I hate it. Just use my email address. And I check that way more often, and it's just a better, huge pillow. It's just a better thing. So thekateawakening@gmail.com. Ow! Bill Smith posted a link to a video that was pretty sick. He said it was Epstein torturing a girl tied to the ground with magnifying glasses. Yuck. I have not seen that. Now I want to know what the Japanese McDonald's cups are. Let me know if you ended up sending that. I'll open it on my email and I'll look at it right now. Why is they could set up a successful live stream, April the giraffe, but not one to keep an eye on him? Odd. Yes, it is very odd. The things they can and can't do, is it not? Will it help leak more info now that he's dead? I don't know. I don't know if it will leak more info, but I do think that it will expedite stuff. Suicide watch in that wing, which is federal, was constant video and physical watch 24/7. He was under constant watch. Yeah, that's what makes sense to me. Jumpy chat. Okay, Joe. Yep, my foot is asleep. Thank you. You're so in tune with me, like so in tune with my body. You guys know these things about me now. Of course I'm sitting on my feet. If I don't sit on my feet, I'll sit here like this and I'll look like Quasimodo. So if I sit on my feet, it puts me up a little bit higher. I'm like better in the frame and it forces me to sit up straight. So we sacrifice the feet in order to not look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. His hat size was 7 3/8 miles. Thank you. Hello. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna check my email really fast and see if I got that Japanese cup thing. Hopefully it's something I can. Oh man, my internet just absolutely is the worst. Oh wow. Okay, that's interesting. You guys, technology hates me. Hates my guts. My ever-loving guts. Here we go. There we go. I did get the email. What? That ain't right. That is not right. Interesting. Okay, if you guys want to, Google the Japanese McDonald's cups. There are 4 or 5 different cups. Man, that is weird. I don't know if you guys saw this either, but recently, you know, they just came out with a Dora the Explorer movie, and ow! The, what's her face from, what's it called? The little actress from the show about Desperate Housewives. Whatever, she's in it. Anyway, the red carpet event thing that they just had for the Dora the Explorer premiere, I think it was. If you look inside if you look at the word Dora in the background and see the pattern inside the lettering, it literally is the FBI acknowledged symbol for pedophilia. It's just so strange. It's so bizarre. Ow. MSM will say he's no longer on suicide watch, but they don't bother asking why that would be the case. Exactly. That's so, ow. That's so true. Ow. The Tesla portrait is in the other room. I still have to paint this stupid thing. I haven't heard anything official that Chandler was interviewed, investigated yet. Yeah, I haven't either. But I have a feeling, since she's apparently, I don't know. I don't even know. Was Prince Andrew indicted? Thank you. I don't think so. I think he's still denying the cases or the charges. And I did see, though, I have a friend that's in the UK that was sending me screenshots of his Twitter showing me that Prince Andrew and Epstein and the Clintons were all trending also in the UK, because we had, when it was first coming out this morning, literally like 18 of the top trending things on Twitter were about Epstein. And that's pretty crazy. That means that there are a lot of people talking about this and only this, at least this morning. So that's good. I'm seeing like some celebrities and stuff even say things that, like, these rumblings of they're not buying the official story. I'm like, yes, excellent. Yeah, I know but I need a booster seat. Maybe I just should sit on a phone book. Do they even make those anymore? Kate, have you ever done any spiritual work? I think you are from the Pleiadian star system. I don't really know if what we would consider spiritual work. I used to think I was pretty spiritual. I was raised Buddhist. A lot of the stuff that I've learned within the last couple years has made me look at some of those things a little bit differently. I mean, not the core beliefs that I had, but really those core beliefs didn't really come from Buddhism anyway. They were kind of, they kind of were, you know, confirmed, I guess, through my belief in Buddhism or through my Buddhist practice. But no, I mean, I'm interested in that stuff though. And I've read a couple books about stuff related to that, but I don't really know a lot about the Pleiadians, if I'm being honest. You guys are killing me with these Epstein jokes about his huge head. I used to sit on phone books when I was a kid, trying to sit up at the table. I think we all did. I think that was a rite of passage if you grew up like any time earlier than 10 years ago. Kate is a tall blonde. I am neither tall nor blonde. Blondish, not tallish. I'm a shrimp. My email again is thekateawakening@gmail.com. Here, I'll type it. Can you guys hear me typing? Am I the oldest person you guys know on YouTube? Kate, have you done remote viewing? No, I have not done remote viewing. Unless you want to, no, I have not done remote viewing. Unless you want to kind of put remote viewing in the same category as past life regression, which I know are obviously different things, but I do know that they can use the same kind of hypnosis to get people to remote view, apparently. I did think, you know, there's that CIA document where they are using people to remote view, and then there's that kind of Mars-like atmosphere that they are describing, and it's supposed to be, you know, like billions of years in the past, and they're looking for a new place to go, and they are, you know, waiting for their ships to come back and take them to a place that's going to be habitable. Never seen so much hate in this country. Are they trying to start a civil war? I believe some people were trying to start a civil war, and some people may still be trying to start a civil war. I have faith that it won't come to that. I think that the people that seem the angriest and the most combative are just the loudest, and what I am seeing with my own personal experience in just normal, regular human beings is that they've had enough of it. And even if they're still out there being, you know, social justice warriors on Facebook and calling you names, that they still, I think if they've got a good bone in their body, don't want it to come to that, and they would not be. I mean, you definitely have some bad people out there that would be all for that. I don't think it's going to come to that. My email's going to be full of egg pics now. You know what? I welcome them. It's fine. Is there anything you can tell us about the 2000 unsealed documents? Well, I did go through some of them. Some of them were his flight logs, which will be interesting. Some of the flight logs were already previously in the public, because I believe somebody got them out of his garbage and got his little black book out of his garbage, and then that information was made public. But that obviously wasn't all of his flight logs, because flight logs are always, you know, accruing. So definitely there's gonna, when you're a rich person and you own a private plane and you're flying here and there and everywhere, there are going to be some people on those flight logs that obviously are not involved in everything that's going on, but it'll be interesting to see who is a repeated visitor to Pedophile Island. So that was one of the things that I saw in the documents. What else did I see? Lots of, you know, like I said, it was testimony, it was evidence that was entered into the defamation suit against Ghislaine Maxwell. So I believe most of it came from that Virginia Guffrey victim. And that's a good question, actually. I kind of want to look that up and go through some of that stuff with you. So I'm going to do that in a second. Epstein's little black book, if his so big. You know, I really thought you were gonna give me something serious to talk about there, but you didn't. You blew it. And I don't think that's all of his book. I don't either. And where is Ghislaine? That's a good question. Wasn't she originally from the UK? Maybe that's where she is? I'm not sure. What else was in those documents? Do you know anything about the FBI document being real or fake? Are you talking about the FBI document that labels the QAnon movement as a domestic terrorist organization? If you're talking about that, I'm not really sure. I've heard both. I've heard mostly that it was real, I guess, but I've also heard that it wasn't, or that it couldn't be verified. Ghislaine, I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. It could be Ghislaine, but Ghislaine helps me remember it for reasons I won't describe to you guys. Trump's name was listed on documents yesterday. Epstein is in federal prison controlled by Trump's DOJ. Trump has more to lose. No, I don't believe that. His name was, just because his name is in there does not mean he is guilty. Again, he is another, how many billionaires are there in the world? These people run in the same circles. And if his name is in there, if there's a reason to investigate him, then let's investigate him. The entire point is to get all of this out in the open, to explore every avenue there is. But bet your money, that doc was unpublished, was pulled by Yahoo. Yeah, okay, that's what I saw, thank you. So it had been written supposedly May 30th, right, of this year. But Yahoo just happened to get it and publish it, and that's interesting because I hadn't seen that it was pulled by Yahoo. So that's kind of telling. Thank you. Anyone know a Swiss connection to Epstein? I don't. So let's look into what I had over here and look through some of these documents from, I think I've got a link in here. I think it was specifically, yeah, so here is the flight logs photograph. So this is actually a table of contents that came from one example of one docket. So it had flight logs, photographs, victim identification letter, New York Presbyterian Hospital records, Judith Lightfoot psychological records, message pads, the Black Book, sex slave Amazon book receipt. That was something that was interesting. They had this receipt from Amazon that had 3 different books on it, I think, or at least 3 different books on it that were about like I don't know, how to keep sex slaves, or basically kind of about the relationship between sex slaves and masters. Thailand folder with defendant's phone number. It is undisputed fact that the FBI report and the Churcher emails reference Miss Guffrey's accounts of sexual activity with Prince Andrew, and that she made in 2011, contrary to defendant's argument that Miss Guffrey never made such claims until 2014. So those are just a couple of examples. Whoa, chat just went soaring by. Yahoo did not retract the document. It's still on their site. Thank you. There was seriously torture tape with Epstein. Yeah, I don't know about all of those tapes if they are out there in public, but would I be surprised if I found out that they all existed? No, I would not. Ouch. Why are people making such silly conspiracy theories about this? You're gonna have to explain that one. What if the white hats pulled a GHWB, Epstein really killed himself, a couple weeks ago and was kept on ice until we needed to control the narrative? Well, he was in court at least like a week and a half ago. We know Trump didn't like Epstein and kicked him out of his hotel for life for trying to attack an underage girl there. Well, yeah, so he had hit on an underage girl there, I believe the daughter of an employee, and he was banned for life from the Mar-a-Lago resort. FBI said something about left-wing extremism is a growing threat. Interesting. Where was that? Oh, to clarify, I didn't mean Yahoo pulled the article off their site. I mean, they pulled it from the FBI. Okay, gotcha. That's a good clarification. So yeah, I mean, that document was sketchy, and I don't know what to think about it, but I'm not worried about it either. I did think it was interesting that we had that come out, and then we have these shootings happen, and it all just seemed very inconvenient. Trump flew in a smaller plane from Florida to New York with Epstein, never to Pedo Island. Yeah, so that is also what I've seen. He never flew to the pedophile island. He actually hitched a ride with Epstein's, what was it, brother or son? Brother, I think, from New York, or from Florida back to, from Daytona back to New York. So, you know, that's just carpooling, baby. And, there's also the element of, okay, so if you were around this kind of thing, if you were one of these billionaires and you were around these people, and I don't know if you guys heard my story the other day about what happened to, whatever, I'm not even gonna go into that. Basically, the idea is that if you are in a situation like that, if you look around and you're like, ew, everything you guys are doing is so disgusting, I'm out of here. Do you not kind of paint a big target on yourself? So, you know, I know that there have been comments that have come out from Trump. I happen to think that that comment about him, where he points out that Jeffrey Epstein is into girls that are on the much younger side, I think was a wink and a nod letting us know, like, this dude's a sicko. He's a pervert. And again, if our FBI, CIA, the DOJ, if all of these things were corrupt and connected, and you had a lot of dirty people within those organizations that were connected to this, to Epstein in particular, who are you going to go to? Who are you going to call? Who are you going to go to tell on him? You're going to end up dead, just like a lot of other people that we've seen. So on one hand, the fact that Trump has been around all of this in the past, I think, is a very good thing because he knows what he's dealing with. Bill Clinton to Pedo Island 26 times. Yeah, HRC. So Bill Clinton did go to Pedophile Island on the Lolita Express 26 times at least, and Hillary Clinton went there 6 times. So that doesn't look good. Doesn't mean that they're guilty, but it also means that they do need to be investigated, especially if we find out that there were as disgusting things going on that island as we have reason to believe there was. QPost 3525 has a line, and I heard that it's a bank account with the country code for Switzerland. Not sure if it's, I must have missed part of that. Weren't there security camera images of people in chambers on Epstein's island sitting on buckets? Yeah, so Rachel Chandler, who is this young girl who has pictures with Jeffrey Epstein and a ton of celebrities and very well-connected people, even when she was very young, posted a picture on her Instagram that is supposedly security footage from Epstein Island, where it's cut into, you know, it's got the like 16 channels, and each channel is a different room or a different angle of a room. And one of it shows a room with a bunch of naked people sitting on buckets. There's a lot of really weird stuff that is in that photo, and it really does look very gross. It also shows several very steep staircases. So if you're looking, so some of the drone footage that we have that was coming out of that Rusty Shackelford account, which I actually subscribe to on YouTube, and I believe what I subscribe to is public, so you guys can go check it out from there. You can see that none of the buildings appear to be multiple levels, you know, maybe 2 levels at most. But you do have that temple looking thing that is on top of a very tall hill, so it would make sense that you could possibly have a staircase system that led down and have, you know, more stuff going on inside the mountain. But it doesn't look good. How much Facebook revenue comes directly from monetization of users' personal data? All of it. Yeah, man, don't trust Facebook. I mean, everybody says that. Everyone knows. I think at this point, everybody knows Facebook is not cool, but we remain. I think part of the reason, I mean, I can speak from personal experience. The reason I do is because, like, my stuff is already all over there. I didn't know for the first, you know, I didn't know. I didn't know. And then I was like, when I found out, I was like, whatever, they already have it anyway. But I don't, that's a good idea. Can I type the name of that channel? So let me look for it really fast. And yeah, I can send you guys a link to it. If my computer will load. Oh my God. What am I doing? Here it is. So, for you guys, here's the link to that account that has all of the drone footage from Epstein Island. Clinton's statement claims a total of 4 trips on Epstein's private jet amid widespread reports of many more trips. Yeah, these people are just in the habit of telling fibs. They are not used to being held accountable for anything that they've done. They have really never been in much danger of getting caught before, and they're just very brazen with all of their, you can tell, these people are just very brazen with their actions and what they say because they're not worried about getting caught. Maybe they are now, but they are just so in that, you know, they're so used to that's just like their automatic response. And it's just like a complete cockiness. Like there's so much evidence of him keeping ties with Jeffrey Epstein, going to the island repeatedly. There are pictures of him on the Lolita Express. Okay, thank you for emailing me that article. My Valley Girl impersonation was on point. Well, I am from the Valley, if you must know. Thank you. Yep, lots of evidence. Did I miss anything with the Epstein stuff? I mean, I'm sure there's even stuff that I didn't see. But I'm just going to go to my Twitter really fast and look at some of the stuff that I had bookmarked. But most of that stuff was from this morning and early afternoon, so I haven't really looked. If there's anything that you guys think I missed and should check out, please bring it up. If Facebook collects data points, which is anything from your social security number, birthday, to your preferred color, or food, they have 500 to 5,000 data points per citizen. Yeah, that's really scary. I missed a boatload. I wouldn't doubt it. If I don't stay on top of all of this at all times, I come back and I'm like, what is happening? Do I miss those Cali winds and summers? I don't miss California much, no. I miss my friends, but that's about it. Let's see. Now we've got a bunch of bull crap trending. I see on Twitter, suddenly Epstein is nowhere to be found. Ouch. I don't even know what's like. People are talking about baseball. Yeah, like anybody cares about baseball. Give me a break. No, but we've got, I mean, literally, I'm looking at the top 9 here. Epstein is not to be found. Nope. Not even in the top 19. So, yeah. I don't believe that. It literally went from being every single category on trending this morning to none of them. Baseball. Yes. They sell this info taken without consent to advertisers who target Facebook users individually. They work to determine what triggers you, then trigger you. Yes, there's lots of psychology behind Facebook, as it was started as a DARPA project. So, yeah, Epstein should still be #1 trending for a couple days. I agree. Plus, I'm still seeing a lot of really big accounts tweet about it, at least in my home, on my homepage or whatever. Ew, Joe Biden, you're so gross. Why are you sniffing everybody? 2 jail guards are required to make separate checks on all prisoners every 30 minutes, but that procedure was not followed overnight, according to the source. Interesting. Breaking news on TV, Epstein case is going to remain open after suicide. That is really great news. Cool. Can you do you know what channel was that? So that was, you know, some of what I saw being talked about that was making me worry. Was there were people who were saying, no, it's definitely they're not going to go forward with the case anymore now that he's dead. But then I was seeing that it was basically up to the judge, and hopefully you hope that the judge makes the right choice on that. Kate, what are your thoughts on the theory that he was killed by the Clintons? I don't know. I kind of think that's less likely, just because I think that he wouldn't have been accessible. Like, in order for him to be accessible, for that to happen, like, they would almost have to do it on purpose. So that would mean that the good guys were in on it too. I don't know. It's definitely a possibility, though. I did see a video that was from years ago where somebody had started to really outline the Clinton body count, and they did a really great job, and I think that somebody should make an updated version of that video where it really goes through, okay, this person was set to testify against the Clintons on this day, or this person was investigating them, and then they ended up at the bottom of a river 2 miles away from where they had been hiking, or they died under these really strange circumstances. That's the kind of stuff that makes your even your mom and dad, you know, you show that to your mom and dad, and even they will be like, that's interesting. That doesn't make any sense. Do you know where the Clinton body count poster can be seen well enough to read? No, I don't. If anybody else does, please post that. Good one, Rob. Joe Biden won't make it to the election without his plastic surgery snapping. Did you guys see the picture of him where he's like running and like only one side of his face is working? He's like that. Do you guys ever see that movie, Death Becomes Her? There's another movie that, did we discuss that the other day when we were talking about the kind of like Truth in Plain Sight movies? That could be one. Oh wait, no, I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to mention that. We'll talk about that another time. I just got excited about something. Holistic doctors being offed also. Yes, there is at least one woman that I follow. Gosh, I haven't seen her post in a while. I wonder if I still follow her. Who has compiled a lot of that information in a really great way. If I ever come across that again, I will definitely post it for you, but that's another thing that is very staggering once you see it all put together. What led you to have courage and desire to report on these things? Well, I don't know. I don't even know if I would call it desire. I just kind of felt like, all right, I got it. I just have to do this. It's really the only thing that I mean, not the only thing, but it was just something that I could add. I felt very passionately about this information getting out there, and I started to notice that nobody was paying attention to me on Twitter. And, you know, some of these other accounts out there, these other YouTube accounts, were just being very encouraging just to all people, and I would be watching them and hearing them say, you know, how important it was to have a lot of people out there talking about this stuff. And I thought that was correct, and I decided to take one for the team. Yeah, so with Epstein dead, there will be no one standing to challenge the search warrant on his house. Everything will be admissible against other defendant without possibility of motion to suppress. I just spit everywhere. Wouldn't be surprised if Epstein is not dead. Look at Ruth Bader Ginsburg, how she's being propped up, being alive, when it's blatantly obvious that's not real. And again, you know, there is the whole topic of clones. I'll just say it. That is a very interesting thing to look into if you have not yet. Praying medic, there's no category as listed by the document, no classification markings. Reporters tagged by praying medic have not responded back to his source document request. Yeah, I did see that. There were a lot of, what do you want to call them? Almost like, well, just like some anomalies on that FBI document. I believe that's what you're talking about. That wouldn't really make sense being there if it was official. It seems like it would be a little bit more professional than that, or a lot more professional than that if you're talking about an FBI official document. The Queen. Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth. Wait till they find the picture of Epstein in frilly pink panties. That would be the least of his worries, I believe. That would be the most normal thing he's ever done. Yeah, the hunt is no longer coming out as far as I've seen. The problem with clones is accelerated aging. Yeah, I have seen that they can grow them, but in order to age them, it takes this whole process and they have to, you know, do it rapidly, which makes them not function properly. I don't know. I just heard an opinion about Epstein being dead that will make evidence on others found in his home way more. Yep. We went over that. Yep. Yeah, but I hope you guys are feeling, I hope you guys are feeling a little bit more hopeful than what I was seeing this morning with tweets and people reaching out to me and etc. with this Epstein stuff. And the more information that comes in, obviously the more we'll be able to piece together, hopefully, if it is not all tainted information and everything contradicting itself, each other, as per usual. I think Mark Zuckerberg is a robot. I do feel that these people are not human. I feel like there are certain people that I look at and I do think that there is something is amiss. I'll just say that. What's the 17th? I missed that. Yeah, there is something very off about Zuckerberg. I will give you that. Oh yeah, there was that article about Epstein wanting a bunch of little mini-me's running around. There's all kinds of stuff. But I think it's important to stay focused, like eyes on the prize here, and think and start and really, you know, dig through all of this information of, if you can find a source, if I can find a source, I'll link it for you guys, of all of the information that came out yesterday, all of the stuff that was unsealed, because we need as many eyes on that as possible. You never know what you're gonna find. I remember when I first started researching Q and the Nexium stuff broke, I remember doing a little dive into it myself, and I was relatively new to researching the Q stuff, and definitely didn't feel like my skills were on par with what I was seeing going on 8chan, etc. And I remember finding the link to HRC. I remember finding that the Bronfmans had put a keystroke logger, I don't know, I think that's right, but that it's a software that you put on a computer that basically sends you a report of everything the person types. And so even, for example, if they put in their password and then try to trick you, they like put in a fake one and hit delete and then put in the real one, you're gonna see all the deletes too. I happen to know a thing or two about that because that happened to me. But I remember finding that stuff myself, and I was kind of like, you guys, is anybody else seeing this? And I wasn't seeing any of the Anons post it yet. And I was doubting myself, thinking, well, if this is important information, then they would surely have this by now. But like hours later or the next day, I did see it show up there. Somebody else did find it and put it all up there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I felt really proud of myself because I was able to find that on my own. And so don't doubt yourself. Like if you, it's good for us to figure out how to research all of this. And if you can be an extra pair of eyes looking into all of this stuff and sharing it with other people, then by all means, we all have a role to play here, or maybe we've got several roles to play, and that could be, you know, digging on information and helping to spread it. You guys are funny. Patriot Hour YouTube channel has the links to the information. Thank you. That's good. I think I am going to, on that note, Joe, I am going to get going, I think, because I don't really have any other information for you guys at this moment, and I have not eaten. So unless you guys have any last minute questions for me, Ivanka and Kate 2024, you don't want me. I will tell you what, when I was in high school, I used to go to the Army Reserve meetings so that I could get out of class, and then they got my phone number because you sign in with your phone number, and then they would call my house and they would try to get me to join the Army Reserve, and my mother would take away the phone from me and she would say to them, you don't want her. Believe me. And there was a lot of truth in that statement. I am here for a lot of other reasons, but I do not think that government is in my future. But thank you very much. That's very sweet. And thank you for the donation. Anderson Cooper is the son of Gloria Vanderbilt. Yes, indeedy. Don't believe everything you guys are seeing right now with those red flag laws either. I think there is a very particular reason that they are being discussed in that way, and I would not get upset about it until you see actual like things in action. I think part of the reason that our president and I guess his daughter and a few other people are speaking out saying that these might be a good idea is really to call the bluff on these people. They know that these people are not going to get anything done, and it is important for that to be highlighted. They are not going to work together and get anything like that done. So don't worry, guys. I don't think that's happening. And if it does, I will pick it alongside you guys. I hope someone is keeping tabs on MSM celebs, etc., who are clearly deep state puppets, so they are held accountable when their house of cards falls. Yes, I believe there are people keeping tabs on them, and I think they are the Q team and others. Anyway, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching this. As always, feel free to reach out to me on my email, thekateawakening@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Kate_awakening. And thank you guys for being so lovely, and chin up. Don't worry, it's gonna be good. Have a great night, guys.